Hi everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of Afrobeat Central radio podcast. Today's episode we have as our guest Brume, and we're going to be learning about his music, getting to know about him, and just even getting started in the music space and his journey so far. So trying to get to know a little bit more about Brume. So over to you, Brume. Just going to let you introduce yourself to us.
Okay. Hi guys. I go by the name Brume, and I'm an Afrobeat artist from Nigeria, raised in Lagos, origin Delta State, and I make good music actually, not just Afrobeats. I'm versatile.
Yeah.
I like to label my music as divergent music because I like to, tap into different realms and different genres of music. So yeah,
That's exciting.
glad to.
Yeah. When you talk about like getting raised in Lagos as well, like what has that been like? I'm just curious because I feel like most of the artists who come from Nigeria, you had to either go through Lagos. Some people are raised in Lagos as well. Like, is it just the culture itself that influences people? But like, what's that been like for you?
Firstly, being in Lagos is a lot, to be honest. Firstly, it gives inspiration because the hustle and bustle, everybody wants to get something. Everybody's trying to, make ends meet. So as a creative, right, when you move outside of your house or comfort zone, you see a lot of things that can actually influence you. To be honest, you see the policeman that's trying to get money from, someone. You see the, forces, everything, the market women, you see the struggle. So you're like, okay, this can influence. In fact, automatically influences your music. There's no how.
That is true. That is true. And for you, like, what was it like growing up in Lagos overall? Like, you said you were born and raised in Lagos, right?
Yeah, Bonners. Growing up in Lagos was fun. It's fun, right? Because I'm still in
Lagos.
I was born to a military environment. Actually, I was born in a military. Yeah, so I was born in army barracks or jail cantonments, right? So this like first year of my
mom or dad a military person?
my mom.
Mom, okay. Yeah. Funny enough, actually, my dad also was in the military when I was when I was pretty young, actually, too. But when I was pretty around the time I was born, he was still in the military at the time. But it was just actually when I grew up, I went to command as well.
Yeah. So the first probably years of my life, or let me just say first year, we stayed in officers' village, right, or job.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we moved to satellites. So I grew up a little bit there for like, let's say 4 or 5 years. But I grew up mainly in Ojo. That's the local government in Lagos.
Right.
Ojo. But I was still going to command, right? So most of my life was, in the military environment. So yeah, it's influenced me greatly, to be honest, because there's this rage I have. There's this rage I have. And apart from being a worry boy, right, from Delta, there's this rage that, I've seen stuff like this. So I can be calm, but sometimes I can be really hard, especially on stage, to be honest. So that's some type of influence, right? So it was fun just growing up.
And, I was a bit curious about that because, going to like, or growing up like in the military barracks and like being around sort of like almost a restrictive environment as well too, like your parents are just kind of like, strict. It's like school, all these other things and responsibilities you have, discipline is so important, right? How was that even for you, like for music? Like what time did you like say, okay, you know what, maybe music or something you would even explore? When did you even have the chance to do that?
Okay, look, I sat when I was in GSS 3, right? Or when I was in junior school, I knew I could rap.
Right.
I was always that guy, to be honest. I was always that popular that people just like to be around. And when I to senior secondary school, my mind changed because all along I wanted to join the Navy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't really see myself, singing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, until SS1. Then I realized that, oh, I'm actually good in this music thing. Why don't I just take it serious? But at that
Right.
time, it was still not serious because we're just doing this for the ladies.
Yeah. And I'm curious, did you have was it an all boys command school? Which one did you have? Did you guys have your own block and all that stuff?
It was not. It was
Co-ed,
all,
right?
yeah, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had a rap group, ENS squad. But when I got into senior secondary school, I kind of stopped rapping. I started, bringing more of the chorus, and it was blowing in school. So I'm like, oh,
What caused that shift at the time? Like when you were like, okay, you know what? Apart from rap, let's see what else. Like, what else can I do?
this is going to sound crazy because I actually had an accident for entering
Oh no.
one, and it actually caused a difference. Because when I got back,
I'm sorry.
when I got back to school, I don't know, all of a sudden my voice became sweet. So
it had its own positives.
So it was crazy. So that's how it started actually. At the time I was listening to a lot of Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, Whiskey.
Yeah.
So I was like, why can't I just sing, right?
Right.
Yeah. And it happened like that, yeah, till finished school. All my colleagues, all my classmates, most of them went to NDA.
Yes. That was the dream at the time. Everybody wanted to become a military officer,
But I just kept on, pushing the music, and yeah.
Right.
Here today.
That's exciting, man. And in high school, like I know you said, you were a bit popular in terms of the because of the art itself, because of music, right? Like you had friends and people who wanted to listen to you and hang around and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Did you have other folks who influenced the music itself, or other friends who were also doing that, or was it just mostly you had to just find your own space and it was just more or less you sort of driving and pushing in that sense?
So this is how my life has always been. I don't know, but I've always inspired people.
That's
right. I was like,
yeah.
People always look at me and be like, oh, Brume is doing it. Yes, let's do it too.
Nah.
That's how it was in, high school. It was like, I started rapping and everybody just started coming. Then we had this squad and we always did rap battles to other schools. So that's how it was. Even till now, actually, I still inspire people, kind of.
No, but that's good. It's nice to see that people actually I don't know, see you taking that step and they're like, oh, you know what? I can do it too. I can also push as well. And, like you were talking about, high school, I think for me to go into command, so many things you couldn't do, so many things you couldn't really freely express, right? You couldn't really be yourself in lots of ways because of the whole, discipline thing and, just even all the other antics around, command schools. It's very restrictive in a lot of ways.
I remember one time, there was this sweetheart. Because when I was in junior school, right, the soldier knew me.
Yeah.
His name was, what was his name again? I think Sergeant Endurance was his name.
His name already sounds dangerous. Sergeant Endurance.
So, when I command newly, when I was in GSS1, he knew me because I had asthma.
Yeah.
He thought I had this exemption card then. And in command, they must flog you. So,
yep, of course now.
so anytime he told me, he was like, oh, no, this one Nasikla, this one Nasikla.
Right.
So it got frustrating because in command, so if you can chop game well, you're a bad guy.
Of course. Yeah.
But anytime he's the one flooding and he sees me, he'll just be like, no.
Yeah.
And the girls now, like,
leave that one. He knows how to connect.
And the thing was, I was actually bad at collecting cane.
Yeah.
So,
or more, I feel like Junior school, man. Everybody collects. Even if you were good, and everybody was collects.
Must collect. So it was SS2 socials, right? And
Yeah.
my group and I were like, about to perform. As we finished
Yeah.
performing, I looked to my right and this guy was standing. He was like, eh? And yes, and
Exactly. My guy said this asthma was a front.
after that time, anytime he saw me and I was late, he used to flog me.
Adam, he said, no, you're well. You're healed in Jesus' name.
So, I swear, high school was actually really fun. To be honest, I didn't enjoy my college as I enjoyed high school
as much.
I swear.
Really? That's so interesting. I feel like, it's so for some people, it's like the opposite because they feel like, like in some ways that high school didn't really allow them like express themselves as much. Right. And then college was where they had like free reign. So it's interesting to actually hear that in your case, like you felt that high school is actually where you could really express yourself and you enjoyed it a little bit more. But apart from like the music, were there other reasons why? And also for college, what was college like then? I'm curious to know.
Okay, so I went to Babcock. You know Babcock?
Okay. Right. Yes. Yes.
So I got, the school is in quotes, Christian university. Right. So there's a lot of restrictions. So I got into 100 level with all the enthusiasm. I was, everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
My whole set knew me and some other sets, they knew me. But as I was going further, right, because I read computer science, it was really hectic.
Okay.
Yeah. So I changed from being that, always happy, around person.
Right.
Yeah. So I became introverted. I feel like that's when my introverted side came out.
Right.
So college wasn't all that for me, but it was nice. I met a lot of people,
Yeah.
Got my certificate, but when it comes to fun, nah.
It wasn't the same.
It wasn't all that because the school was really draining, to be honest. But creative.
How was it like studied? But so did you have any exactly? I was curious about that too. Like as much as like were there other people sort of like in the same shoes as you? Like didn't have as much. They feel like they just couldn't express themselves as much. Like how did you have your own little community in some ways?
Yeah, we did.
Nah, that's awesome.
Everybody was.
I find that in it. What stopped you? Like I'm sure you contemplated that a couple of times. You're like, what am I even doing here?
I did. I thought of the family I was from.
Yeah.
The older
that always ends up being the bigger deterrent for most people.
The older generation, they feel like school is everything.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that is true.
In reality, it's just education that's everything, not school.
Right.
Like you need to have knowledge.
Where you go to.
Yeah. So I thought about it. I was like, I used the what if factor. What if does not really go how I plan it to go? Like if it was my own money, I wouldn't mind. I would have dropped out a long time. But I thought about it. I was like, nah. Let me just continue, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
interesting. And you said, so you said in some ways it ended well. Like, what were the positives over time? Like, what did you see that, sort of, apart from, like, obviously there's the pressure of, okay, and like you said, this is my parents sending me to school. I need to make sure that I due diligence, But at the end, like, what's the point where you're like, okay, you know what, I've come to terms with it. This is it. Like, when did you come to terms with it, pretty much?
I came to terms with it in my 300 level. I was like, I've already come too far to even want to turn back.
Yeah, I get that.
I was like, why not just finish it, right? Like, because having that certificate can still open doors for me in the near future.
Definitely.
Right. Even if I don't, venture into my field, as long as I have the certificate, I can do things around it.
Of course.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. let's face it, let's endure to the end. And
He became Sergeant Andreas.
I, it was fun. And at that time, my parents didn't really support my music, so it was really tough
Yeah.
because I was in. There was this constant need to always prove myself that this music can actually do things. It can actually open doors. It's not the way you guys see it. So I think close to my 400 level, I didn't want to bother them for school fees, so I had to actually hustle and pull through. And it happened. I was after everything. I told my parents, and they were like, "Okay."
Yeah, they're like this. There's potential.
Yeah.
But let's see what's That's awesome.
And all the money came from
awesome.
music. So
Wow. But that's really impressive. And how did that like happen for you? Like, how were you able to make that work, right? Because at this point, had you like disconnected from music, if you would put it that way, a little bit, because you're
I never.
on Babcock. You're like, how did you get back into it?
The thing is, I never disconnected. It was just not. I was just trying to like, serve two masters.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So at some point, the studies was lacking. At some point, the music was lacking. So I always had
Hard to balance both.
Exactly. So I started producing. I started recording artists in school. That's how I made money.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you manage that in Babcock of all places? Like what?
Just
Pablo Escobar of producer.
The speaker has to be really low. It has to be really low. But they don't have to know, because if they know, I mean, Davido went to my school. Some other bougie went to my school too. So
no way. Oh, that is true. But okay, so production, right? How did you even get into production? Like, when did you start producing music, right? Like, and how did you keep up with it in the first place? Or how were you even able to keep up with it?
So production, the reason why I actually went into production was, when you go to studios, right? Most of these producers, when they're recording you, they might not give their all, right? You might tell them, "Oh, I want it to sound," and to them it's like, "Why they stress me?" You get so. I had a laptop. Some people in my hostel had a mic then, so, and they didn't have the orgasm that I had. So I was always using the mic. I was just experimenting, and just like that, I actually got my way around it. FL.
Okay.
So I started recording myself.
Right.
It was really trashy at the beginning.
Progress. I know.
Well, that's how it went. The journey.
Most of the folks you got to record, were they also like students, or like were they people outside of the university?
Students. Everybody wants to do music.
Okay.
Everybody wants to do
music. That is exactly. It's like everybody's just going to school to just, fulfill their parents' dreams.
Some people, when they just like, when they see people like Burna Boy, Whiskey living the life, they're like, I want this.
Yeah.
I know girls really love. Yeah. Girls love art. So anything that has to do with art.
That's true.
Yeah. So I use that as a means to make money, man.
It worked out, right?
It worked out.
That's the best part. If you could redo, like your whole college experience in some ways, right? Like, what would you do differently? Like, do you think I know you said you could study computer science, right? Like, do you think you would have done anything else, like, otherwise? And if you had a choice of, like, where you went to school, if you went to school, would you have still, like, done the whole college experience?
That's a very good question. The question is if I could, like, redo something, if I had the opportunity.
Yeah.
Again.
Right.
I think I'll had the opportunity, I would have made more relationships. Yeah, I would have made more relationships with people. Although the relationships I made in college was pretty much what has gotten me to where I am today. But yeah, I really wish I did make more relationships, because I became too introverted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. if the whole college thing itself, so do you think like if maybe if your parents were more willing, right? Do you
Yeah.
think that's something you would have like fully said, you know what, I'm out, like I'm not doing this again, and just like right before, do you think you'd have gone to like an art school, like a music school or something, or like do you think you would have still done college even?
You know, funny enough, hold on. I feel like
Yeah.
everything is planned. Everything that happens has already
Yeah.
happened. I feel like what happened was what was meant to happen, because originally I wanted to read architecture.
Anyway, so for like, for putting together like your first track, which was Workaholic, right? What was the journey like leading up to that? And sort of like what inspired you over time to like really get into the music itself and say, it's time for me to put something out there.
So yes, before workaholic, right, I always used to, just tell my sister, oh, before I graduate, I
Right.
want a hit song. That I just want like a song that would be popular. Workaholic was, to an
Right.
extent,
It
was
was.
a hit song because a lot of people knew
I
it.
think I came
Yeah.
across it like
And
sorry, I was just thinking like I actually came across it. Even if you know famous Bobson, like Bobson's story, he just randomly put it up there, and then I was like,
yeah,
who is this guy, man? This sounds dope, and that was actually how I got into the song in the first place, But nah, definitely both. But yeah,
yeah. So at that time, my stage name wasn't Brume. It was
right,
Phantom TJ. That was, a rapper's name. But I had to change it to Brume because, Brume has more brand to it. You can use it
right,
to brand a lot of things. And it's
right.
also my name to my real name. So, you know, I was just made the song at that time, and there were a lot of songs I had in my, hard drive, and we needed to release music. So my manager and I were just discussing, or like, yo, what song are we going to drop? Because when they're like everybody's opinion into
Yes.
decision making, it
Oh, for sure.
becomes really tense. Yeah. So that's how it was. And we're like, yo,
Yeah.
we could just drop this song, because that was like the most recent song I made, Workaholic. There was no plan. There was no plan for
That's all.
promotion. We just wanted to use it to start up the page, the first song
Right.
under the name Brume. And we dropped it.
And I was curious, right? Timeline
What?
wise, like, was this after, like, right after university when you?
No, this was,
Are you serious?
I was still in school when Workaholic dropped. It was a really nice euphoria, to be honest, because the first week it dropped, the reception it got was like, wow, what's going on?
Nah.
Because we did not expect it to be like that at all. So just be in my room, then some of my hostel wait, let this man not post.
Yo. No, that is crazy, man.
It was almost like my guys were on the lookout for.
To see when it would pick up and all that stuff. Yeah.
It was nice. Left school, everything really changed, to be honest, with that record. It changed.
Like I think it's exciting
So that
to
was
just
how.
even, like, give it a shot, or just, like thinking about like even how sometimes you're not sure what the right song is, you're not sure what the right time is, you're just not sure when you should be putting out music, but more or less like not even overthinking and just giving it a shot,
Yeah, like, it made me learn something about music. It's like, if you make good music, right, there's really no need to overthink it.
Definitely sure.
Just put it out, because certain
Yes.
people will love it.
That is true.
Right? Music is a universal language, so certain people gravitate to it and vibrate to it.
And I think that was generally like even the momentum to,
Yeah.
like the growing momentum even to Workaholic too. It's like such an interesting one, like where people just, I think, resonated, with it too in a lot of ways. And I think that was also still like during COVID in some ways, so people were still just getting back into it again. Life was so sort of like, almost getting back to normal again. So it was just like perfect, like how it just like worked out and everything. I was also wondering, like, what was the inspiration behind the song itself? Because, like I said, like, just the name Workaholic and you talking to me about grinding through your 4th year of university by yourself. to get me stuff. It makes me feel like that also, like, it almost describes you as a person in some ways.
Yeah, it is my experience. It's a true, the true experience. So, cause normally, right, I do not. At that time, I never used to make
Right.
deep songs like that. Songs that talk about life. I always just talk about the normal Afrobeat style. Talk about the
love, money.
Yeah, but I had this friend and we were trying to find a deal, because money no be too plenty for our hand like that. So he had his brother-in-law had a lot of money, right? And he was like, "Yo, bro, opportunity deal." I was like, "Oh, what's the opportunity?" He was like, "Oh, this his brother-in-law wants to sign an artist. Say you go fit." I'm like, why not? I get songs now. Make I send you songs. I was like, no be those kind of songs in like. I like what type of songs was he like then?
Right.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, he likes all this Bella Shmurda time." Bella Shmurda, Melisky, talk about life, and I'm like, and my friend was like, "You fit," and I hate being dead, right? Because I know I can do anything, and I was like, why not?
Let me show you something.
Like, yeah, exactly. I've never really told anybody how this part of the story. I've never really said it before. This is the first time. And so that day I, went to YouTube, searched for a beat, and immediately I just got the inspiration for the chorus. I was like,
after your friend dead,
oh yeah,
to put something together.
I got the inspiration and made the song. And to be honest, it was just like, oh, another song that I've made.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like, oh, this is going to be a smash record. I was like, oh,
right.
Okay. I played it for my people in school and he liked it. Funny enough, we now sent the song to this guy. And he did not still fuck with it.
Are you serious? No.
So to be honest, you see, God's plan, it happens in funny ways.
Of course.
And I was like,
wow. After my guy said, I want you to be the last one at 2.0, I want you to.
The reason why was because I made it to sound like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he was expecting some Fuji style, but I did Brume and so we put out the song and things changed from there.
Wow. That's amazing. And, like you did say, like, you had so much music and, we've talked about how your style is sort of like not necessarily changed or evolved so much, but it's been like you have so many different, like, genres that you've tried and like, you dipped your hands in, like, you've never really sort of stuck to one specific like space. You've always been versatile in lots of ways. How does that, like, in terms of inspiration wise, like, like in terms of inspiration, musical inspiration, like how does that come into play? Like what specific artists would you say, like even right now or like over the past few years has like really driven you to, like make the kind of music that you make right now?
Personally, like I said before, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.